It was a Tuesday afternoon, the kind of boring, nothing special Tuesday that you forget about 5 minutes after it's over. The sun was streaming through the windows, casting warm light across the living room floor. I was home alone, folding laundry, half watching some reality show about people who renovate houses for a living. The show was mindless entertainment, the kind of thing you have on in the background while you're doing chores. I wasn't really paying attention to it. My mind was elsewhere, thinking about what to make for dinner, about my daughter's upcoming school play, about the pile of bills sitting on my desk. My husband Derek's phone was sitting on the coffee table, buzzing like an angry hornet. He'd left it at home by accident, which wasn't unusual. The guy was always forgetting something. His keys, his wallet, his phone, his head, if it wasn't attached to his body. He was the kind of man who needed constant reminders, who'd walk out the door without his shoes if I didn't check him. My name's Carla. I'm 38, a physical therapist, and I've been married to Derek for 14 years. We've got 2 kids, a daughter named Maya, who's 12, and a son named Josh, who's 9. We've got a mortgage, a dog, and the kind of comfortable, predictable life that I'd always dreamed of. The kind of life that feels safe and secure. Derek's a good man, a decent man, the kind of guy who remembers anniversaries, brings me coffee in bed, and still holds my hand when we walk down the street. He's the kind of dad who shows up to every soccer game and school play, who helps with homework and reads bedtime stories. He's steady, reliable, and I'd never had any reason to doubt him. Or so I thought. The phone kept buzzing. I was going to ignore it, let it go to voicemail like I always did. But something made me pick it up. Maybe it was the way the screen lit up with a name I didn't recognize. Maybe it was the way my gut twisted for no reason at all. Maybe it was just the universe deciding that today was the day my whole world was going to flip upside down. I looked at the caller ID. Angela. I didn't know any Angela. Derek had never mentioned an Angela. There was no Angela in his contact list, no Angela in his stories about work, no Angela in any of our conversations. But there she was, calling my husband's phone like she had every right to, like she'd done it 100 times before. I answered it. "Hello," I said, my voice cautious. There was a pause. Then a woman's voice, warm and familiar, like she was talking to an old friend. "Oh, hey, I was expecting Derek. Is he there? I've been trying to reach him all morning." "He left his phone at home," I said. "Can I take a message? I'll make sure he gets it." "Oh, sure. Can you just tell him Angela called? He'll know what it's about. It's about the thing we talked about, the thing we've been discussing." I frowned. "What thing? What are you talking about?" There was another pause, longer this time. I could almost hear her brain working on the other end of the line, trying to figure out what to say next. When she spoke again, her voice was different, colder, more calculated. "I'm sorry, who is this? Is this his wife? Or his sister? Or someone else?" "His wife," I said, maybe a little sharper than I intended. "Who is this? Why are you calling my husband?" The line went silent for a few seconds. I could practically hear her brain working, trying to figure out what to say next. When she spoke again, her voice was different. Colder, more calculated, more careful. "His wife," she repeated, and there was something in her tone that made my skin crawl. Something that sounded almost like pity. "Funny, he told me he was divorced. He told me he'd been single for years, that he had no kids, no attachments, nothing holding him back. He told me he was free." My blood went cold. The words hit me like a physical blow, knocking the air out of my lungs. "Excuse me, what did you say?" I said, "He told me he was divorced. He told me he'd been single for years. He told me he had no kids, no attachments, nothing holding him back. He told me he was free and clear. That's what he told me." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I just stood there, gripping the phone so hard my knuckles went white. The room was spinning around me. "That's not true." I finally managed. my voice shaking. We've been married for 14 years. We have 2 children together. We have a life together. He's not divorced. He's never been divorced. He's never even mentioned divorce. Well, that's news to me, Angela said. And there was a bitter edge to her voice now. Because for the past 8 months, I've been dating a man who told me he was single. A man who told me he was falling in love with me. A man who told me I was the only woman in his life. A man who told me he wanted to marry me. 8 months. 8 months of lies. 8 months of betrayal. 8 months of my husband living a double life while I was at home. Being the good wife, the devoted mother, the woman who believed in him. 8 months of him coming home to me every night, kissing me goodnight, telling me he loved me, while he was telling another woman the same things. Who are you? I asked, my voice shaking. How do you know my husband? Where did you meet him? He works with me, she said. We're in the same department. We've been working together for about a year. We started getting close about 8 months ago. We've been close, very close. He told me he loved me. He told me he wanted to marry me. He told me I was the one. He told me I was everything to him. I felt like I was going to be sick. My husband, the man I'd trusted with my whole heart, had been having an affair. And not just a meaningless fling. A full-blown relationship. A relationship where he'd been telling another woman he loved her. A relationship where he'd been pretending I didn't exist. A relationship where he'd built an entire fantasy life. Listen, Angela said, her voice softening slightly. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. He told me you were his ex-wife. That you were bitter and crazy. That you'd made his life hell. He told me you'd taken everything from him. He told me you were the reason he was so careful with his heart. I believed him. God, I'm such an idiot. I believed every word. You're not the idiot, I said, surprising myself with how calm I sounded. He is. He's the one who lied to both of us. He's the one who played us both. Yeah, well, that's over now. I'm done with him. I can't be with someone who lies like that. Who builds a whole fantasy life to keep me around. Who pretends to be someone he's not. I deserve better than that. Good for you, I said, and I meant it. You deserve better. We both do. So do you, she said. So do you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't even know you existed. We hung up, and I just stood there, staring at the phone, feeling like my entire world had just been destroyed. I didn't confront Derek right away. I couldn't. I was too shocked, too hurt, too angry to think straight. I needed time to process, time to figure out what to do, time to figure out who I was and what I wanted. So I did what any reasonable person would do. I started digging. I went through his phone, his email, his social media. I found everything. The texts, the photos, the late-night calls, the meetups at hotels, the secret Instagram account, the lies he'd told to keep his double life going, the web of deception he'd woven. It was all there, every piece of the puzzle, and it painted a picture of a man I didn't recognize. Derek had been cheating on me for 8 months. 8 months of lying, sneaking around, and pretending to be someone he wasn't. 8 months of telling another woman he loved her while coming home to me every night and kissing me goodnight. 8 months of living a double life. And it wasn't just Angela. There were others. Texts to other women. Flirty messages. Secret meetups. He'd been playing the field for years. Apparently, I just hadn't been paying attention. I'd been too trusting, too naive, too focused on my own life to notice what was happening right under my nose. I felt so stupid, so incredibly, painfully stupid. I'd trusted him. I'd believed in him. I'd built my whole life around him. I'd given him everything. And he'd been lying to me the entire time. He'd been living a lie while I'd been living in a dream. The worst part was the little things. The times he'd come home late, and I'd asked him where he'd been. The times he'd been distant and I'd assumed he was stressed about work. The times he'd been secretive with his phone and I'd told myself I was being paranoid. The times he'd canceled plans and I'd made excuses for him. I'd been so blind, so trusting, so naive, so eager to believe the best in him. I waited until the kids were in bed. Then I sat Derek down in the living room and told him everything I knew. "I answered your phone today," I said, my voice cold and steady. "Your work wife called. She told me you'd been dating for 8 months. She told me you told her you were divorced. She told me you said you loved her. She told me you wanted to marry her." Derek's face went white. It was like watching a ghost take over his body. The blood drained from his cheeks so fast, I was honestly worried he was going to pass out. "Carla, I can explain, please. Just let me explain. It's not what you think." "Explain what? Explain how you've been lying to me for 8 months? Explain how you've been having an affair with a woman who thought you were single. Explain how you've been playing both of us for fools. Explain how you told her you loved her while coming home to me every night. It's not what you think. She's just a friend, a coworker. She read too much into things. I never..." "Don't," I interrupted, my voice rising. "Don't you dare lie to me. I have the texts. I have the photos. I have the hotel receipts. I know everything. Every single thing. I've seen it all." He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. No words came out. He looked like a fish gasping for air, floundering, trying to find something to say that would make it better. "I've been faithful to you for 14 years. I continued. "I've been a good wife, a good mother. I've supported you through everything. I've been there for you through thick and thin. And this is how you repay me? By lying to me, cheating on me, and making me look like a fool, by making me feel like I'm not enough?" "I'm sorry," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. It just happened. It got out of control. I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't want to hurt you." "Stop it? You didn't even try to stop it. You kept going. For 8 months. You lied to her. You lied to me. You built a whole fantasy life so you could have your cake and eat it too. You wanted to have both of us. I know. I know I messed up. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But please, Carla, please give me a chance to make this right. Please let me try." "How?" I asked, my voice bitter. "How can you possibly make this right? You destroyed our marriage. You destroyed our family. You destroyed everything we built together, everything we worked for, everything we shared. I'll do anything. I'll go to therapy. I'll cut off all contact with her. I'll do whatever it takes. Just please, don't leave me. Don't take the kids. I can't live without you. I can't imagine my life without you." "Funny," I said, a cold smile spreading across my face. "You seem to be living just fine without me for the past 8 months. You seem to be doing just fine without me in your life." I didn't make any decisions that night. I was too angry, too hurt, too overwhelmed. I just went to bed, lay awake staring at the ceiling, and wondered how my life had come to this. How had we gone from being the perfect couple to this? How had he thrown it all away? The next few weeks were a blur. Derek begged, pleaded, cried, and promised to change. He went to therapy. He cut off contact with Angela. He did everything he could to prove that he was sorry and that he wanted to save our marriage. He brought me flowers, he wrote me letters, he left me voicemails. But it wasn't enough, because I couldn't trust him anymore. Every time he came home late, I wondered where he really was. Every time his phone buzzed, I wondered who was texting him. Every time he said he loved me, I wondered if he meant it. Every time he touched me, I flinched. The trust was gone, and without trust, there was no marriage. There was nothing left to hold on to. I started seeing a therapist myself. I needed to process everything, to figure out what I wanted, to decide if there was any way to salvage what was left of my life. I needed to understand why I'd been so blind, why I'd trusted him so completely, why I hadn't seen the signs. My therapist was a smart woman named Dr. Chen. She listened to my story without judgment, helped me work through my feelings, and gave me the tools I needed to make a decision. You can't rebuild a marriage on a foundation of lies, she told me one day. The only way to move forward is to start from scratch. And that means being honest with yourself about what you want. Do you want to try to save this marriage? Or do you want to walk away? Only you can answer that question. I thought about it for a long time. I thought about the good years, the happy years, the years when Derek and I had been truly in love. I thought about our kids, about how they deserved a stable home, about how hard divorce would be on them. I thought about all the memories we'd shared. But I also thought about the lies, the betrayal, the complete and total destruction of my trust. I thought about how I'd never be able to look at Derek the same way again, how I'd never be able to fully trust him again, how the shadow of his infidelity would always hang over everything we did. And I realized that I couldn't do it. I couldn't pretend that everything was okay. I couldn't force myself to love someone who'd hurt me so deeply. I couldn't stay in a marriage that was built on a foundation of lies. So I made the decision. I was going to leave. The divorce was ugly. Messy. The kind of divorce that leaves scars on everyone involved. The kind that makes you question everything you thought you knew. Derek fought it. He didn't want to let go. He still believed that we could fix things, that we could rebuild, that we could find our way back to each other. He couldn't accept that it was over, but I was done. I'd made my decision, and I wasn't going to change my mind. I'd given him chances. I'd tried to forgive, but the trust was gone, and there was no way to get it back. The lawyers got involved. The kids were caught in the middle. Our friends and family were forced to pick sides. It was everything I dreaded, everything I'd hoped to avoid, everything I'd been afraid of. It was a nightmare, but I got through it, one day at a time, one step at a time, and eventually it was over. I got the house. I got primary custody of the kids. I got a decent settlement that would allow me to start over. It wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I'd imagined. But it was reality, and I had to accept it. And Derek got what he deserved. A broken marriage, a shattered family, and the knowledge that he'd thrown away everything good in his life because he couldn't keep it in his pants. It's been 3 years since the divorce. 3 years of rebuilding, 3 years of healing, 3 years of learning to be alone, 3 years of figuring out who I am without my husband. It wasn't easy. There were days when I wanted to give up, when the weight of everything felt too heavy to carry. There were nights when I cried myself to sleep, mourning the life I'd lost, the future I'd imagined, the person I used to be. But I didn't give up. I couldn't. I had 2 kids who needed me, a life to rebuild and a future to create. I had to keep going for them. I had to be strong for them. So I kept going. I focused on my work. I spent time with my kids. I reconnected with old friends. I started new hobbies. I built a life that was mine. A life that didn't depend on anyone else. And slowly, gradually, I started to heal. I'm not the same person I was before. The experience changed me, made me stronger, more resilient, more self-reliant. I don't trust as easily as I used to. I don't give my heart away as freely. I'm more cautious, more guarded, more protective of my boundaries. But I'm also happier because I know who I am. I know what I want, and I know that I don't need anyone else to complete me. About a year after the divorce, I got a message from Angela. She'd reached out to apologize for everything that had happened. She said she'd been thinking about me, about what she'd done, about the pain she'd caused. "Carla, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from," she wrote. "But I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I didn't know he was married. I didn't know he was lying to both of us. I've felt terrible about it ever since. I've thought about you so many times." I stared at the message for a long time, trying to decide how to respond. Part of me wanted to ignore it. Part of me wanted to tell her exactly what I thought of her and her role in destroying my marriage. Part of me wanted to scream at her. But another part of me, a smaller part, recognized that she was a victim too. She'd been lied to, manipulated, used, just like me. She'd been deceived by the same man who'd deceived me. So I responded. I told her I appreciated her apology. I told her I didn't blame her. I told her I hoped she was doing okay. I told her I understood. We started talking. First just messages, then phone calls. We bonded over our shared experience, over the pain we'd both been through, over the healing we were both trying to do. We understood each other in a way that no one else could. It was strange, forming a friendship with the woman who'd been my husband's mistress. But somehow it worked. We understood each other in a way that no one else could. We'd both been hurt by the same man. We'd both been lied to, betrayed, and discarded, and we'd both come out the other side stronger for it. Today, Angela is one of my closest friends. We talk every week, have lunch together, and support each other through everything. It's an unlikely friendship, but it's real. And it's one of the best things to come out of the whole mess. About 2 years after the divorce, I met someone new. His name is Marcus. He's a high school teacher, kind and steady and completely unimpressed by drama. He's the kind of man who shows up on time, keeps his promises, and means what he says. I was cautious at first, skeptical. I'd been burned before, and I wasn't about to let it happen again. But Marcus was patient. He didn't push. He didn't pressure. He just showed up and proved himself. He's not perfect. Nobody is. But he's honest. He's loyal. He's the kind of man who keeps his promises and means what he says. He's the kind of man who'd never do what Derek did. It took me a long time to trust him. A long time to let my guard down. But eventually I did, and it was the best decision I ever made. We've been together for a year now. We're taking it slow. We're not in a rush. We're just enjoying each other's company, building something real, something honest, and it's good. It's really, really good. So what's the lesson here? What's the takeaway from all of this? I think it's this: trust is fragile. Once it's broken, it's almost impossible to rebuild. And sometimes, no matter how much you want to, you just can't go back to the way things were. But that's okay, because sometimes the broken pieces can be rearranged into something new, something different, something better. I lost my marriage. I lost the life I thought I had. But I gained something too. I gained strength. I gained independence. I gained a deeper understanding of who I am and what I want. And I gained the courage to walk away from something that wasn't working. Even when it was hard. Even when it hurt. Even when I was scared. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let go. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. And sometimes the best thing you can do is choose yourself. If you're reading this, and you're in a situation like the one I was in, I want you to know something. I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to know that it's not your fault. And I want you to know that you have the strength to leave. It's scary. I know it's scary. The thought of starting over, of being alone, of facing the unknown. It's terrifying. But I promise you, it's better than staying in a relationship where you're not valued. It's better than staying with someone who lies to you. It's better than staying with someone who makes you feel small. You deserve better. You deserve honesty. You deserve respect. You deserve a partner who loves you, truly loves you, and who would never do anything to hurt you. And if you're not sure if you have the strength to leave, remember this: you have survived everything life has thrown at you so far. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every setback. You are still here, still standing, still fighting. And that means you're stronger than you know, braver than you feel, and capable of more than you can imagine. So take that step, make that decision, choose yourself, because you are worth it. You have always been worth it, and you always will be. Loved this story? Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a video. I upload brand new stories every single day. Gripping, emotional, and packed with twists that'll keep you guessing until the very end. Don't forget to like this video if it gave you all the feels. Comment below. Have you ever discovered a betrayal that changed everything? How did you handle it? I read every single comment. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the best lessons come from other people's experiences. Got a story idea? Drop it in the comments. Your suggestion might just become the next video on this channel. Subscribe now and join our growing family of story lovers. New videos drop daily at 7 a.m. EST. Perfect to watch with your morning coffee? Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Until next time, stay strong, stay brave, and never let anyone make you feel like you're not enough. Because you are. You always have been. And you always will be.